Welcome to the Charles River Conservancy Parkland show. My name is Renata from Tscharner, and we have a very special guest today, somebody who loves and knows the Parklands probably like nobody else. Welcome, Carol Johnson.
Thank you.
Carol Johnson is a landscape architect and has spent decades designing parks along the Charles River, looking at those parks and thinking of how they could be taken care of, how they can age well. Like we parks are getting older and need care all the time. And we know that a park is like a garden. If you don't take care of it, it doesn't get better. It needs to be maintained. So we'll be looking at some parks that Carol and her firm, Carol R. Johnson, have designed over the years. So just to give you a quick overview about the Charles River Conservancy, our mission is to revitalize the parks, and we work closely with the state. But now let's look at the park and at the river. The river, 81 miles long, but we're looking at the last 10 miles, and along this stretch are the parks that we're going to look at. So the first park, Carol, we're looking at is the Longfellow Park, the John F. Kennedy Memorial Park.
Yes.
And do you want to give us a little bit of the history of how this park came about and how your design about it?
The park was the project of the Metropolitan District Commission, which is now the DCR, the state organization. At this time, there had been a trolley car barn. Many of us who went to the Harvard football games remember going to the end of the line, getting out and crossing over to the stadium. And you can see here in this picture what it was like when it was all a car barn. Now there was, of course, a lot of pollutants because there were also buses who left petroleum products. So when it was divided up into development parcels, the Charles River Hotel and the Kennedy School, a large portion was kept as public open space, and we did have to deal with the polluted soils. Fortunately, when they built the car barn area, they excavated, and we had a large area where we could dump the pollutions and cap the polluted soils and get some good material, and we had some very good consultants help us with soils matters. And the result is that we have some good soils and plants are growing there.
Very well, and we have some pictures of how beautiful the trees, how well they're doing. Right now we're looking here. Are we looking towards Harvard Square here? Is the way it is, I think?
We're looking toward the river, in Harvard Square. The gateway slabs on either side of this alley of trees. I was teaching in Taiwan in 1983, and I went to an IMP, University Donghai, and I saw how Pei designed the gateway entrances to the university, and it gave me the inspiration to do these gateway pillars, and then of course the alley going to the memorial fountain. You can see some of the settlement. Of course, bituminous concrete is usually in need of repair after 20, 25, 30 years, and this bituminous concrete is at that point now.
And I think you have a picture. I'm gonna of the concrete of the blacktop that is now in need of some repair.
Yes.
And you also have a picture of the vegetation that is getting a bit wild.
The vegetation is doing well, and of course we have a choice of the people who over prune and make everything into cupcakes or leave it alone. And I like to have selective pruning. But if it's a choice between the cupcakes or letting it wild, I'd rather have it go wild.
Oh, well, we definitely have that wonderful vegetation. I know you spend a lot of effort also on this fountain, and here it is, of course, working.
Yes.
And and now it's not always full.
It's frequently not working, and I wrote a letter to President Faust of Harvard, and I doubt that she ever got my letter. I got something back which had her name on it, and I had mentioned that I realized the property didn't belong to Harvard, but that I understood that Harvard was going to participate in its maintenance, and the state does some maintenance. You can see the fountain is stained, and it's said that the abutters aren't really pitching in to take care of the necessary maintenance. I feel sorry that there was so much support generally for the park, and it's still used a lot, used by Harvard.
It's used a lot. Well, I think, Bobby, we need to remind Harvard that this is in their front yard, and that it might be wonderful if they could take care of it, because I don't see the DCR doing it.
Probably not.
No.
I did speak with someone in the maintenance department at Harvard. There is some settlement, as you can see. The stormwater doesn't always get into the system, and that worries me. In winter, if there's a heavy rain and then a severe cold, there could be ice, and there could be some liability issues. So it would behoove the folks who are abutters to do some maintenance.
All right. Yeah. And then you are concerned about happening with the steps also, again, the surfaces?
The steps are fine, but the pavement that goes to them is starting to break up.
Yeah. But as we see, the trees are doing very, very well. They're wonderful trees that really make this space like an outdoor living room for all the many people who use it.
That part I am really pleased with, and I love seeing the people out there using the park, and I love seeing them sit under the trees in the shade in the warm weather. So I'm worried that in the long term it needs better care, but there are a lot of things about it that are fine.
That work well. Good. Well, we're going to move to another part of Cambridge. We're going to go downriver and to the Lechmere Canal. And the Lechmere Canal is another wonderful park area that you worked on. And give us a sense of when did you start working on the Lechmere Canal?
We completed the Lechmere Canal Park in 1988. We started several years before because it took quite some time to develop the whole scheme. And these were drawings by my partner Bill Taylor to give a sense of the new bridge that he laid out some options for the design of, and how the whole park would impact its neighborhood. And here's what